Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to my channel. So, I'm bored. For like the first time in like my entire college career of like 2 years, I don't have anything like directly to do right now. So I think I'm just gonna rank my classes. Okay, so here we are. We have all of the classes I've taken up until now, including like this semester. So that's 3 semesters worth of classes. And trust me, I've seen a lot in my day. I've seen some really good classes. Well, have I? We'll see. Let's actually get into the ranking. If you're not familiar with the tier system, we got S tier up here. S tier is like prime time quality class, 10 out of 10 would take again, would show up to the other sections of the class just to get a little bit more. Like that's the vibe we're feeling for S tier. And then F tier, why did I sign up for this class? Like honestly, I just show up to the class to get a nap in between my other classes. Like you'd honestly just rather watch reruns of Bindi the Jungle Girl rather than go to this class. With that preface out the way, let's get into these classes. So the first class, I want to start off with fall semester and sort of like work my way up, like fall semester freshman year. First class is biology, bio 1. So that's like bio with genetics. I feel like that class really taught me how to, try your best and still not succeed. Wait, no, that's another class actually. I guess this one just taught me to like try your best and then just like still like be unhappy. Yeah, I feel like that's a good summation of bio 1. I'm gonna drop it in the C tier for like could be better, but like not the worst thing in the world. Like it gets worse. Like trust me, it gets much worse than this. Next is Spanish, so Spanish 1. Spanish was honestly like my all-time favorite class of my first semester because it was just so fun. It was like the first class like I felt like a genius in, because I just got back from Spain. I was in Spain all summer speaking broken Spanish, so like everything was still like here, like the language was like still fresh. So everything was kind of easy. I didn't have to study. I just got good grades for doing minimal effort, just really good GPA building activities here that you just don't get other places. So for that, I think I gotta say Spanish is like A tier at least, like minimum A tier. I really can't get through this without talking about bio lab, and yes, I'm breaking apart bio and bio lab because they are two completely different beasts in and of themselves. Bio class, like the lecture, is like an hour and 15 minutes of just like listening to my professor talk vaguely about biology. But bio lab is the 3-hour monstrosity of actually applying that knowledge. And by applying, I mean like loosely sort of doing experiments that are somewhat kind of maybe somehow related to what's in lecture, but being counted for 1 credit class, but for double the work, Biolab is like a full-on F tier. Not even gonna lie, F tier because I failed. Not kidding, I didn't fail. I just hated my time there. If you know me, you know the visceral reaction that just stating this course name has on me. Pre-calc. Pre-calc was the death of me. Like it broke me inside. Where I was talking about like the class that where you try your best and still fail, like that was pre-calc. I feel like the highlight of the class was like the people in it, just not the material or the professor. Or the professor was cool. The professor tried her best to try and make it seem like I wasn't stupid. But I mean like at a certain point, you can only do so much for a person. So pre-calc, you get a D tier because I'm not even gonna make that joke because I want to say monetize and say brand friendly, but like if you know, you feel me? Last class of first semester, university writing. So like the mandatory class that all freshmen at my school are required to take, actually wasn't that bad. It's like called university writing, and this picture down here of homegirl over here has her like writing intensely, but contrary to popular belief, I did very little writing for that class. The class was about like the history of Black and African American appropriation in like an American scope. So that was pretty cool because like, I'm Black and the professor was Black. So like that was already like a win-win for me. But no, like the class was actually pretty interesting and I learned not so much because like, again, I'm Black, but it was still fun to be in a class where everyone's like learning about your daily life experiences and the kids across from you are just like, wow, can you believe this happens? And I was just telling her like, indeed. I do. So just for that, just for like the whole relatability complex, 'cause you know relatability is everything nowadays, and just for like the sake of like the class being interesting, the professor being great, I'm gonna put that university writing up in the S tier for solid class. Now we move on to spring semester, the time where things are supposed to be so much better, so much sunnier. You just have all the weight from first semester lifted off of you and you're just a brand new person. In theory. So let's get into it. So I think one of the classes I took that semester was sociology. So we have this handsome fellow over here who I think is a famous sociologist. If not famous, he's a sociologist. At least according to Google Images, he's a sociologist. Sociological imagination honestly wasn't that hard of a class. It was mostly just, you know, reading, like a typical college class where you just like read, take notes, have a test, read, take notes, have a final. That's it. It was pretty unmemorable. I just remember my professor was pretty comical at some points. He was also a black professor, so like, shout out. But yeah, sociological imagination was sort of one of those classes that kind of just like cruised by. So because of that, I'm gonna give it like a C tier. It's gonna be right there with bio. Actually, that's rude. That's rude to sociology. I'll move it up to B just because I don't want it to be associated with bio because they're like not on the same level. And while we're talking about bio, we can't just leave out the elephant in the room. There's still another bio class that I took my freshman year. I took 2. Well, technically 4 if you count the labs, but I'm not even gonna get into that. I took Bio 2, which is basically like the environmental sort of focus. So it was more like on people, like larger concepts. And everyone was saying first semester that they can't wait for Bio 2 because Bio 2 was so much easier than Bio 1 because it was more easy concepts and the professor was just more lenient. But tell me why I did worse the second semester than the first. Like what? Like why? The class was pretty boring. I didn't really enjoy it that much. So just because of that, because I did better in Bio 1 than Bio 2, Bio 1's gonna get a higher score than Bio 2. So yes, Bio 2 goes D tier, as you should, where you belong. Next up, we have the class that destroyed all mental well-being in my life, calculus. Y'all thought pre-calc was bad, but when we get into calc, you know, it only got worse. Like, if you don't know and you want just a little taste, like, I didn't finish that class. That's correct. I actually, don't tell anybody, withdrew from the class. Like, I literally was going to fail that class if I did not withdraw. It was a test we were supposed to take right before we were going to take the final, like a couple weeks before. But like, if you didn't do well on that test, like that was like a precursor for how you're going to do on the final. I literally, like one of my proudest moments of college, I got that test back and saw that I like literally failed it. I walked up to the professor, said thank you for everything, walked out that classroom and withdrew from the class. It shouldn't be funny, but it is. I'm making light of a very traumatic and painful experience for me. But you know, you already know, F tier. Like, who are we kidding? Like, see, you know, that just feels so much better. I feel like all the trauma just like draining away from me, you know? Oh, I also took like a communications public speaking class, which is pretty cool. It was pretty like low maintenance, but I also like learned a lot about public speaking, and I think I got better at it, but I'm not really sure because like I'm like a shy person, you know, like I can only really do this here, and like even then not very well. But you know, like class wasn't that bad, so I'll give it like a, honestly, I'll give it like a B tier. It'll be up there with sociology. And then I think the last class of freshman year was Spanish 2. And again, second class was just not as good as the first one. The Spanish 1 was so good. Like, it made me want to minor in Spanish. Like, I'm minoring in Spanish now because of Spanish 1. But Spanish 2 really made me doubt that decision. It was just like so different. I guess that's because I went from like intermediate Spanish to advanced. Like, that was my first advanced Spanish course. It wasn't that bad. I still like really like Spanish. So for that, I'll give it, it's floating between a B and a C tier. Let me just, you know what? I'll make the rules around here. This is my swamp. So I'm gonna make a tier just for this special occasion. I'm gonna make that the Spanish tier. BC Spanish. There we go. That says Spain, but you know, you get the point. Here we go. Now we get in the present day. Sophomore year, fall semester. What do I think of my classes so far? 3 to 4 weeks in. So first off, we have my psychology class, and psych is like really cool because like I have some cool people in that class, like some cool, like they're freshmen, but like they're still pretty dope, you know? And like the professor is literally the funniest person I know, not for like reasons that you'd normally think, but like she's just like such a quality professor. So for that, I give you a solid B tier. Oh, B tier. Next is Spanish 3, and Spanish 3 so far has been a little bit better than Spanish 2, but at the same time, it's not the same as Spanish 1. It's the same exact professor as Spanish 1, but it's just a little different now because now we're in Advanced 2, which means knocked it up just a little bit more, and it's just a lot of time commitment, like homework and stuff, and I just don't know if I'm down. I mean, like, I'm gonna be down because I'm gonna do it anyway, but I can still complain about it, you know? Spanish 3, B tier. Next is like my all-time least favorite class this semester, and that is my Media and Free Society class. It's basically like a kind of like an intro to journalism class, but also like I don't know. I don't know what I thought when I signed up for a class that said Media and Free Society. I thought it was gonna be like more like, I honestly don't even know what I was expecting. I was thinking like videography and stuff like that, but pretty much we're just learning about like broadcast news and like politics. And I know I go to GW, which is like the politics and IA school, but like I was really trying to avoid taking one of those classes, and I know it's like good for me. I know it's like good to like be educated in politics and all that, which like I am. I'm like pretty involved and have some like opinions, but like at the same time, I'm just like so disinterested in that whole sector that the class is just so boring. So just for that, I'm going to give it like a solid C tier. Can I get a drum roll for these last two? So over here with the Steve Jobs looking, we have my entrepreneurship class, which is pretty cool. It's like a 3-hour class, but it's also very unconventional to like what you'd consider a 3-hour class to be. It's like really interactive, but it's also a lot of work so far. But like, it's interesting, you know, I want to be an entrepreneur maybe someday. Just an overall really good class. The professor's all right. So I'll give it a B. It'll go up with the B's. It's a B tier. And finally, the last class, repping the one, the only, the most controversial family on YouTube, the Ace family, is my Sociology of the Family class. And this class is a unsung hero because there's something about it that just really gets me excited. Like, I'm really happy to take this class. Like, there's a lot of reading, but at the same time, it's all interesting stuff. Teaches you how to get in relationships. Well, no, it teaches you about the history of relationships, the history of families, how that all works. We do dynamic stuff. It's just really freaking cool. It's going up to not S tier yet, because like I still have yet to see what is to come. So, but like it's an A tier. Like I really like it. I really like the class. So yeah, here's like the complete tier list of my college experience so far. We see a lot of B's here, like a lot of alrights. Some really not so good classes, a few good classes, but you know, I'm only like a year and a fourth in right now. Have a lot more to really get out of college, so hopefully we see a little bit more of those A's and S's. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this mess. I'm sorry, this is very random. But if you're new to the channel, like this, or want to see more from me, subscribe. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Comment down below what you think of this list, and if you want to make a list for your classes, do that. Follow me on my socials, share this video with a friend, do all that good YouTube stuff. Also make sure to turn on those post notifications because YouTube's been hitting different lately with those notifications, and I don't think people are seeing my videos as much as they should, or they are, and I'm just making awful content. Either way, I don't know. I'll blame YouTube for it. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been Imurgency, and I'll see you guys next time.